Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tip-Off. Newcastle News Sports Editor Ron Poniewasz, joined by Newcastle News Sports Writer Cody W. Pattison, and our special guest today is Union Girls Basketball Coach Rob Nogay. That is PIAA Championship Coach Rob Nogay. We'll get that straight also. Coach, congratulations, and thank you for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Coach, several years ago when I covered the Newcastle boys basketball team's championship out in Hershey, I remember Ralph Blundo say to his team when he was looking around at his players, this is exactly how I envisioned it. What did you see from your kids after the game? Is that how you envisioned a state championship would look like?
It was. I mean, it was a surreal feeling for us, obviously, with those girls being freshmen when I started and got the job. And, that was our goal, to get to that point at some time during their careers. And, just to walk through the tunnels and see the Giant Center even before the game started with no fans, but to see the scoreboard and to see the faces, the girls' faces when they walked in there, basically in awe when they first got in, and definitely what we expected and everything that we had hoped it would be.
I had heard, I believe it was 8 total victories in the 4 seasons before you took over, and then the state championship win marked 60 wins for you personally in your 4 years. Where does this program come from, and what did it take to get them to this point?
I think that there was a culture change when we started 4 years ago. Obviously, I'd probably talk about it too much, but we hang our hats on playing good defense, and that's what we wanted to instill in the girls, and they definitely bought in from day one. And in practice, I think some of the girls have said it before that probably 80 to 85% of our practices were defensive oriented, and the offense would finish up with the last 15%. The culture change is that the Union girls weren't successful in the past, and that's no one's fault. I just think that, we wanted to change that culture. We wanted to change that mindset when we started 4 years ago. And, like I said, those girls bought in, and we definitely were able to do that. And they bought into playing a defensive minded game and learning and understanding that offense would feed off of good defense. And, I think that they definitely accomplished that through their hard work, and it definitely paid off for us. And, I couldn't be happier or more proud of the girls, especially the seniors, for them to go out on top. That's a great feeling to see the hard work pay off, and to see it in their faces, and to see the rewarding feeling for them, for sure.
Coach, we spoke after the Williamsburg game, 12 for 26 at the foul line for the Union girls in a 43-37 win. And the first part of your quote was, I'm not happy about that. And you also mentioned, we're going to work on it. We're going to shoot them correctly. And you had 2 games after that. You had 22 of 28 against Berlin, 45-31 win, and 9 of 10 in the championship. So that's 31 of 38 at the line after a 12 for 26. Tell me how a team improves that much in just a short amount of time.
Well, I think a lot of that is, the mental approach to shooting free throws. I think if anybody from the outside would walk in our gym during practice, they would see that, our practices are serious from the first minute till the last minute. One thing we try to do with free throws in particular is treat them as game type situations, which means, I'll run them in the beginning, and I want them shooting free throws when they're tired, which is game like. Towards the third, fourth quarter, we want them exhausted. We want them tired. When they step to the free throw line in practice, no one's allowed in the key. Everyone has to be on the outside of the key, like it would be in a game like situation. There's no talking. We're not joking around. We step to the line and take it serious. And again, I wasn't happy with the performance from the line against Williamsburg, and we needed to spend a little bit more time focusing on free throws in practice, and we did that, and it paid off. And one of the things we finished practice with is, I line all the girls up, and they have to shoot 70% from the free throw line before we break practice. So if it's, 10 girls and 7 of them have to make, and we don't leave practice until we make at least 70% of our free throws. So, I think the mental approach and taking it serious and understanding that a lot of games come down to free throws, and, we needed to work on it in practice, and they understood that, and we definitely did that.
Cody, what do you have for Coach?
Coach, you kind of mentioned that culture change. When for you did you kind of realize that, okay, we have something here? Because for me, it seemed like the pinnacle was Union baseball and softball winning at the same day, and then it's kind of snowballed. When did you notice the culture change?
So I think for us in particular with girls basketball, that culture change started probably, shortly after that season where we made the playoffs, qualified in the fourth place position, and went down to Monessen and upset them. And, you could see that the kids were starting to believe that they could go on the road. They could go on a bus ride for a long, couple hours and knock a higher seeded team off in the playoffs. And from that point, I think, in the off season, they bought in completely into what we were doing. I've mentioned this numerous times now, even this past summer when Coach Niederball was hired at Union, and he got the boys and the girls together in the summertime, and there were 7 a.m. workouts 4 days a week. And it wouldn't be shocking to see 50 kids there in the morning at 7 a.m. ready to go. Actually, some of them beat coach to the field. I think that culture change started, like you said, with some of our other sports. And, I think the kids at Union right now are definitely a talented group of kids. And it's a group of kids that want to work and want to do better. And they see their buddies, or they see themselves in the other sports being successful. And, they just want to continue. They want to move through sport to sport and be successful and do the best that they can. And, like I said, this group of kids works very hard, and, obviously the successes show for that.
Coach, in the state championship game, I obviously like to ask about halftime talk, but I was more interested in the intermediate parts. Like, what was the talk heading into the second quarter, and also the talk heading into the fourth and final quarter there?
Well, again, I mentioned it that, we didn't get off to a slow start this time. So at each quarter break, part of that talk is, hey, we got one down, we have a lead here. We got to make sure that we're playing good defense. And again, reminding the seniors and reminding other players that we have 3 quarters to go. I mean, this is it. When this game's over, it's over. And we want to go out on top. I challenged them to give me everything that they had, no matter if it was the first quarter, the second quarter, the fourth quarter, just to sell out, give us everything you have, go out and make sure that when you walk off the floor, you can hold your head high and say that I did everything that I could possibly do to win. And, our girls did that. They definitely bought in from 1 to 14, 1 to 15. And, at any time, any one of them on the floor, I know is going to give me their ultimate effort. And it definitely paid off for them.
Coach, one last question here. 4 years ago, you started, and I'd like you to kind of compare and contrast, what your thoughts were in that first practice compared to that last practice before heading into the state championships.
Again, just super proud of our kids. From that first year, I would never question their work ethic, but to see them grow and to see them understand the philosophy that we tried to sell, in which they had bought into. Like I said, I mean, we had come in, and right from the get-go, I told them we're going to be a defensive-minded team. This is how we're going to play. This is what we're going to do. And, over that course of the 4 years, to see those kids buy into that, and to see them, understand that's going to help us win games. And it did help us win games. I mean, there was a lot of talent on our basketball team, and those girls showed that throughout the course of the year. And again, just to watch them grow from year 1 to year 4. And, just at times I found myself standing back after the game Friday and just watching the team and saying, this is their hard work that paid off for them, and it got them to where they wanted to get to. We set those girls early, and, again, it was a successful run for us, and just to watch the growth of those teams over the 4 years.
Yeah, Coach, I know you touched on the where the program started with that playoff run with the road win at Monessen and things like that. And last year was a very nice playoff run as well. And some might say, the turnaround is complete, or the turnaround is, in full force last year. Certainly this year, you would have to think if it was any question about a turnaround, it was completed this year with a state championship. But how do you maintain this program's success? How do you stay, ahead of the curve, so to speak, not regress in any way?
Again, I think these 4 seniors set the groundwork for that. They set the foundation for that. You know, we had we didn't have a send off when we went last Friday, so the girls were able to walk through the halls today, and they were able to go to the elementary school and walk through the halls and see the kids lined up with posters and cheering them on with their medals and the trophies. And you know, I think that they've set the tone for the younger groups, and I think that, you know, that success breeds success, so to speak, that those younger kids now see that and they want to go work. They want to get after it in the summertime. They want to do what they can to try to get to that point themselves. And will we ever get to another state championship? I don't know. I mean, you know, it's one of the hardest things that you can do is to get to that game and then win that game. But I think our mindset right now is the foundation that these kids have built. And, you know, like I said, those younger groups looking up to that and wanting to achieve that. And our other sports, as you guys have talked, I mean, right now, you know, it's the Union's a pretty successful school athletically and academically as well. And I think that to sustain that, it's just to continue to get to practice and work. And, you know, that's one thing that I'm always going to do. I'm a competitor. I know our kids are competitors, and they're going to continue to work through practice.
All right. Anything else you have for Coach Cody?
Yeah, Coach, I was just curious. It must be nice now, you and your daughter, to have gold medals and some bragging rights around the dinner table with your nieces and your brother Don there, right?
Well, it'll be a good Easter for Addie and myself for sure. Yeah, we have a little bit of bragging rights now. But again, you know, the successes that my nieces have had, I mean, I don't think that there's a competition there. I think that, you know, this family's supportive. They're super supportive of Addie, and Addie and I are super supportive of them. And, you know, it's been unbelievable achievements by not only Nalia and Erilyn and Jaden, but also Addison. You know, as a family, we couldn't be happier. We couldn't be more proud of the way they've worked and the success that they've achieved.
All right, Coach. Hey, we really appreciate you joining us. And again, congratulations on the success that your team experienced this season, and continued success moving forward. And again, we really appreciate you joining our show.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. And we appreciate all the support and all the coverage you guys have given us throughout the year. I mean, the girls really appreciated seeing the pictures in the paper and seeing the articles and talking with you guys. So we really appreciate that.
Okay, that's Coach Rob Nogay, Union girls basketball coach. We appreciate him for joining us, and we'll be back here on Tip-Off for more segments.
Hey, listen! Listen! Seniors, unbelievable careers. I couldn't be happier for you. I couldn't be more proud of you. All right? Listen, we worked hard for 4 years to get to this point. A lot of people told us we'd never get to this point. The best part is we got here and we finished the job. Enjoy it. Enjoy it. I couldn't be more proud of everybody in this room right now, and I couldn't be happier for you. You did an unbelievable job all year long in practice, in games, and we're PIAA champions. Together on three. One, two, three, together.
There's one thing I learned growing up around here. People should look out for each other, be friends and neighbors that you can count on. So it bothers me when people who are hurt in automobile accidents get bullied by the insurance company. I don't let bullies run over my clients. I do what I was taught growing up. Step up, stand up, and speak up for those who can't. I'm Larry Kelly, and I'm a Newcastle guy.
Okay, we're back with you here on Tip-Off 2022-2023. Dr. Ron Poniewasz, joined as always by Professor Larry Kelly, our last podcast of the season. We've went as far as we can go this year, Larry, and that's because of the Union girls basketball team. Congratulations to them. Larry, welcome back first before we go too much further in this.
Oh, no, listen, I'm sorry I missed the segment with Rob Nogay, Coach Nogay. I had a few questions I wanted to ask him. And I'm sure he was great. He turned that program around. But I'd be interested to know a couple things. Number one, when did he know he had something special? Because They started the season 6-6 and then won 17 in a row. It reminded me of my Shenango High School Wildcats baseball team. We started the season 2-2 and then won 21 in a row. So at some point in time, you got something special. I'd want to know when he thought that was. And, did somebody call the fire trucks to bring them home after they won the state championship? Did you ask him that question?
No, that's a you question.
Listen, the fire trucks, get the fire trucks ready. That is the absolute greatest thing, to come back home with the fire trucks, the sirens, and the lights blaring, and it's just great. So congratulations. What a year. And to go the whole way, again, when it happens, Ronnie, when you look back in retrospect, and I would want to ask them this question too. Number one, when did you know you had something special? And number two, when you look back, were there one or two plays or calls that went your way that allowed you, to get to your final destination and to win the Whipple and the state championship? Because in my experience, there's always a few plays or calls that if they had gone the other way, the outcome could have been different.
Sure. Okay, he is Larry Kelly, the head baseball coach at Shenango High School and a member of the Luxembourg, Garbutt, Kelly, and George law firm. And this is our Athlete of the Week segment. It is Union High's girls basketball team for winning the state championship. As Larry mentioned, the Union girls are finished the season 23-6. They won the Class 1A championship with a 46-29 win over Lourdes Regional. And Larry, we'll take care of a couple things here in this Athlete of the Week segment. It is kind of, in addition to what we were asking Rob in another segment. First one was, in the 4 years prior to Union, prior to him getting to Union, they won 8 games, and we've talked a lot about it. And you always mentioned that they were an automatic win. Basically, the teams that they were better than were Portersville Christian. If they had Portersville Christian on the schedule, you pretty much knew if you were Union, that might be your wins. And as you always say, the other teams kind of wrote that in as a win. But the 4 years that Rob Nogay's been there, they have 60 total wins, a district title, and a state title.
Pretty impressive. And listen, I told you last week, the Nogay family, great athletes, great tradition, great pedigree, great coaches. But if you asked Rob, and I'm sure you did, he talked a lot about the players, because at the end of the day, it's all about the players. And, you got to have great players. You got to have special players to win championships. And he had them this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Another area that we touched on with Coach Nogay, Larry, after the Williamsburg game, Union won the game 43-37. They trailed for the large majority of that game. And again, they won by 6 points. That was a game that they shot 12 of 26 at the foul line. So they were below 50%, trailed the majority of the game, got themselves back in it. It certainly wasn't at the foul line that they got themselves back in it. And Coach Nogay said after the game, when I asked him, he says, "Yeah, I'm not happy about that." He says, "We're going to work hard on it. We're going to get back in the gym and work on them correctly." They had 2 games after that, Larry. Semifinals against Berlin, a 45-31 win. The team was 22 of 28 at the foul line. And then the state championship game, they were 9 of 10 for a composite count of 31 of 38. Impressive.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you got to make foul shots down the stretch. You just have to. A poor shooting night at the foul line could cost you a game. And, they had good shooters. So the night that they were, off of the mean for them, it was just a poor shooting night. And that can happen in basketball. And, once a couple of your players start missing, all of a sudden that hoop gets smaller and smaller. But that was the exception rather than the rule. My guess is if you went back and you looked at the box scores for the last 17 games in a row that they won, they were pretty good at the foul line.
Absolutely. Larry, anything else in addition to what we just spoke of with the Union girls that you'd like to comment on regarding their state championship?
I want to congratulate them, especially when they beat a non-boundary school, man. That just brought a smile to my face. Listen, they've had a great run at Union High School. It's a small high school, but a tight-knit community. They got some great coaches out there, great kids, great families, special players, well-deserved, man. I'm really happy for them. And I just hope the fire trucks with the sirens on and blaring brought them home that night, because that's just the greatest feeling in the world.
Okay, I'm going to mention all the girls' names from the roster that we got for our basketball publication, that our season preview. So hopefully all the girls that were on the team are in this roster, and hopefully there were no late additions, because we wouldn't have those names. And hopefully I pronounce everybody's name right. So we'll start with the seniors: Elise Booker, Kayla Frustorfer, Zoe Laprie, and Kendall Pruse. Those are your 4 seniors. Junior class is comprised of Bella Cameron, Kelly Cleaver, Kayla Eppinger. Sophomores are Kylie Frustorfer, Addie Nogay, Mia Pruse, Hayden Strickler, and India Waters. Your freshman class is Olivia Benedict, Chloe Confer, Miera Gunn, and Madeline Settle. Coaches, obviously, is head coach is Rob Nogay, and your assistant coaches are Jim Cleaver and John Frustorfer. And that is your 2022-2023 Union High girls basketball state champion, as well as WPIAA champion. What a season, Larry.
Yeah, that's special. It doesn't happen too often, especially in any sport, let alone basketball. But it's really a special accomplishment, something that you'll remember, that journey you were on with your teammates and your community for your entire life. It's just something that it leaves an indelible mark on your mind and your soul.
Larry, a couple years ago, they went to the playoffs. It was the COVID year. I don't think that they actually qualified, but they took anybody that wanted to go, and they went and they upset Monessen and came close to another upset victory the next year. There is a team that I can kind of compare them to. There's a blueprint that Union has set, and I don't know if I asked you the team, and it's a boys team, so we'll limit the field to the boys team. Do you feel that there's a boys team that follows that could follow the blueprint that Union has set? And if you don't get it, I'll provide it for you.
It might be the Union boys. They've come a long way. So it might be Union boys and Union girls, because, their first venture into the playoffs, they were, not as successful. But if not them, then who? You tell me.
A few years ago, in Nick Marmo's final year at Mohawk, they also went to the playoffs. They accepted the invite. They did not win a playoff game that year. And then last year, they started playing better. They made the playoffs, I believe, last year. And then this year, they won over 20 games. I think next year they could have a really good season. And I think they have a real good shot at following a blueprint of Union. That's a lot of pressure to put on them as a district and a state champ. But they follow in that same blueprint of where have they been lately? They haven't been anywhere. Their program has been down. Now, all of a sudden, here they are. They had a really nice season last year. They won over 20 games this year, almost got into the state playoffs, probably should have. They squandered a couple of opportunities. They really have that same look of a Union team where they come from nowhere, and here they are. They're right back on the map.
It's a good basketball team. I watched them a couple times. I think Jay Roner returns, and he'll be a senior next year. And you know, the only thing that I thought that they lacked in watching them, and I did see them a couple times, was depth, because they were playing a lot of young guys. So if the young guys develop and they have a little more depth, next year could be something really special for them.
Absolutely. Okay, Larry, that's Athlete of the Week. Congratulations to the Union girls basketball team for winning the state championship in a 46-29 decision over Lourdes Regional. We have one more segment to go here on Tip-Off, and we will discuss the state championship game. We'll do that next with Larry Kelly on Tip-Off.
I became an attorney because I believe in hard work, fairness, and human decency. In a word, justice. Our workers' compensation clients deserve justice because in an instant, their hard work turns into hard times when they get hurt on the job. No doubt, life is tough, but so am I. I've been fighting all my life, and I'll keep fighting for you. I'm Joe George, and here in Lawrence County, it's personal.
We're back with you here on Tip-Off to talk about the Union girls basketball state championship game, the 46-29 win over Lourdes Regional. And Larry, it was a ball game going to the fourth quarter. It was a 6-point game. Union shut out Lourdes Regional 11-0. And a lot of coaches always preach, you know, finish what you start, finish it. I'd say that's a pretty good way of finishing it.
Oh, yeah, locking down on defense. I mean, I didn't see the game on TV. I'm sorry I missed it. But listen, they say, you know, offense wins games, defense wins championships. And you got to get stops sometimes. You just got to get stops. And once you get, you know, the goal used to be at Newcastle, let's get 3 stops in a row. And it changes the momentum of the game. And that's what they did. This was an outstanding team. You know, not only did the seniors and juniors play well, but Kylie Frustorfer, the 10th grader, had a big game in the championship game and was stroking threes and just couldn't stop making them. You know, when you're hot, you're hot. Just keep firing. So, yeah, it was a great year for them. It was a great year. And at the end became a comfortable game. Took it out of the hands of the officials. I have a saying, because I know we're going to fight about this. Let the players decide the game. Let the players decide the game. Good officials. And I've been around this game coaching it for 20 years, longer actually. Good officials only blow that whistle when they absolutely have to. And we have some really good high school officials in and around Western Pennsylvania. And I've become friends with these guys, and I've talked to these guys, you know, and I tell them I ask them, you know, we talk about it, you know, about what makes a good official. And to a man, only blow the whistle when you absolutely have to. Let the players decide the game.
Union had been a slow starting team in the playoffs, routinely getting down 10 or 12 points in games. But this game, you know, they started strong and just kept the lead, 14-8 after one quarter and 26-19 at the break. That's key in a championship game, playing with a lead, not letting nerves get the best of you.
Yeah, I mean, if you're playing from behind, sometimes you tend to get out of character and maybe start taking shots that aren't typically your shots, maybe putting up shots a little more quickly than, you know, your coach would like, not going through all of the options in the offense, you know, passing up a good shot for a better shot. Things like that can happen. So it is important to take a lead. It really is. But, you know, again, there's always a few big shots, turning points in the game that allowed that game to become a breather at the end. You know, I remember when Newcastle, we were winning 16-15 at halftime against LaSalle College in 2014. And, you know, in the second half, I think it was Jake McFadder hit 2 huge threes. And he was a 3-point shooter, but, you know, it didn't take a lot of them. He wasn't Anthony Richards, but he had 2 huge threes that the 2 biggest plays of the game, maybe, you know, that stretched our lead out from 2 to like 8. And So I'm sure if Coach Nogay goes back and he looks at the film, there'll be one or two shots that really turn the game around. And I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't the fruit store for Kylie, a girl who hit a couple threes in that game that kind of really give them some breathing room.
Because they were familiar with coming back and erasing deficits, had they got behind in that game, you could easily make the case that the girls are probably telling themselves internally, hey, we've been here before. We've been down 10 points, 8 points, what have you. But at the same time, are you kind of wondering, are they feeling like, is the clock getting ready to strike midnight? Is this the time where we're not going to be able to, erase that deficit?
Basketball's a game of runs. Ralph Blundo would always tell the team in the locker room before the game, look, they're going to make runs. We're going to make runs. Keep your composure. Keep your focus. And at the end of the day, we're going to be on top. And winning teams understand that. And having won 17 games in a row, I'm sure the Union girls were pretty confident in their ability to overcome any deficit. And they didn't have to worry about it in the championship game.
That's right. Okay, Larry, anything else that you'd like to comment on regarding Union's state championship game, the 46-29 win over Lourdes Regional out at Hershey?
No, congratulations. What a great year. To win your last game, that's always the goal, right? When you get in the playoffs, you always want to win your last game. That means you're the champion, and they did. We had a bunch of high school teams who had great years, albeit not championship years. One being my alma mater, Newcastle High School in 6A, won their section, which is always a big deal. Got to the Whippeal championship game, and once again got to the Elite Eight of the state championship game, which seems to be a Ralph Blundo staple. We've been there often, and even though we ran up against a public school that was just better than us, Reading ended up winning the state championship, beating Roman Catholic in overtime. So I congratulate them. But the Hurricane had a great year also.
How does Union maintain their success? How do they stay, quote unquote, on top of the mountain? Let's keep the fact that they won a state title off to the side for a minute. When you say on top of the mountain, that kind of refers to winning another title. But how will they stay on top in terms of a playoff team, a deep run type of a playoff team? How will they maintain their success? What's going to be their key to success?
Well, the key to their success is they'll be off in the month of April, and they will be back in the gym in May. That's the way it goes. That's the way we did it at Newcastle. There were only 2 months that we were not in the gym, April and August. Basketball is a 10-month sport. It's a skill game. You got to get up thousands of shots between now and the time that the ball tips off next December in the opening tip-off tournament. And I'm sure that's what they'll do. My dad told me one time, nothing succeeds like success. And once you have that success and you develop that mindset, and you realize the fruits of your work ethic and the reward that comes with it, it's a lot easier to do the next time around.
The player's game, Larry.
Listen, I've coached various sports for 25 years. I've always said, what I do is a little overrated. It's all about the players. It really is. A coach is like, it's like icing on the cake. You got to have the players, but if you have the good coach like Coach Nogay, Coach Blundo, and the other coaches here in Lawrence County, then you got a chance to win a championship. Okay,
Larry, that's going to end our run here for the 2022-2023 season. We had a really good run through football, courtesy of the Union football program. Basketball for a lot of teams, really. We had 6 teams play for district titles, 5 of them the WPIAA. We had a District 10 team compete for one. We had 2 teams win it. We had a state title in girls basketball. By my counts, we had a hell of a run this year.
Yeah, Ronnie, and thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. I enjoyed it immensely. As much as we tend to bicker on the air, we're really good friends, and I truly appreciate you giving me an opportunity to be a part of this podcast. Might I add, the award-winning podcast.
Yes, I'm glad you mentioned that, as we have our credentials in for the award process. They're in the process of judging, so possibly real soon we could be the 3-time award-winning podcast.
I would like that. I think we get a little bit better every year, so it wouldn't surprise me if we ring the bell again.
That's right. I would love that, Larry. And thank you, everybody out there that have watched us through the football season and through the basketball season. Thank you to the law firm of Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly, and George for their sponsorship. Thank you to Larry Kelly for joining us every week, as we appreciate his contributions to this show. And I personally thank all the coaches and players, the fan bases for not only watching us, but any interactions that they've had with us, at games, talking to us after games, helping us bring the content to the fans. That's been very crucial to our success, and it's been enjoyable for the student athletes to see that out in the public as well, in the paper and online. So great job by everybody. Larry, congratulations on another fantastic season, football and basketball. It'll soon be August, and we'll be ready to do this again, sir.
Yeah, let's hope so. Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate it.
All right. Be safe out there, everybody, and enjoy the Major League Baseball season as we're ready for first pitch tomorrow. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you soon.